including Texas under the former Attorney General and now the Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. Governor, good to have you with us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Martha.
So as I understand it, the legal argument here was that, the president as the chief executive, has the right to defer prosecution of individuals in this country when he sees fit, or when the Justice Department sees fit. So they used that to say, because we can do that, we can defer prosecution when we choose to do so through the DOJ, we're deciding to do that for these 5 million illegal immigrants. So the judge has now said, no, that's not so, correct?
That's correct, because what happens in deferred prosecution is you have isolated cases where the DOJ or prosecutors decide, well, we're not going to prosecute this particular case. What happened here is what the president did is, for millions of people, not only did he defer prosecution, but he also affirmatively gave benefits. And because of that giving of benefits, it was the kind of thing that had to go through the administrative process, and that is where the president's plan failed. But remember this also, you showed that clip where the president said he was taking this unilateral action. Before he said that, 22 other occasions before that, he said he did not have the legal authority to do this. And then he turned around and did it. Turned out Barack Obama was one of our best witnesses during this case.
So this court came down on your side. The Department of Justice says that this program that they wanted to put in place would have made things work more smoothly, and it would have allowed them, they say, to focus on the worst of the worst, and not, as they say in their own words, it would help them with the removal of the worst offenders, not people who have long ties to the United States and who are here raising American children. That was their argument. What do you think?
And the Federal Court of Appeals shot that down very easily, saying that the Department of Justice and Homeland Security, they still had the latitude to work on these issues case by case. But what they did come out and also say is that the president does not have the unilateral authority to grant amnesty to millions of people. And Martha, that is the big issue here. And that is, do we have the rule of law in the United States of America, or do we not? And what this Federal Court of Appeals said is the rule of law still applies even to the President of the United States of America.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on a sort of a side issue here. This was a story that aired on Special Report last night about who's going to take over the Border Patrol in this country. And apparently there's a short list of people who possibly may be up for that job. And one of them is Heather Fong, who is the former police chief in San Francisco. And they raised some questions about whether or not she should be considered for the Border Patrol job based on statements like this. Let's play this.
We do not work on enforcing immigration laws. We do not cooperate with ICE when they go out for enforcement of immigration violations of the law.
As a border state governor, you have any thoughts on this?
Well, we're dealing with these challenges every single day about people coming across the border illegally. And I got to tell you this, Martha, if that person is chosen, you will see a revolt in this country. Because we are not going to tolerate this perpetuation of violating the law and not enforcing the law. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, I issued an order to the sheriffs in the state of Texas. They have to honor all ICE detainers. If the president brings in someone who's going to abdicate the rule of law in this country, the American people are not going to tolerate it anymore.
Governor Abbott, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today.